ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SSL Premier League here at the Nexon Arena. I am Valdez. With me is Wolf tonight. As always, it's Monday night in Seoul. We have 5 best-of-3s coming your way with 10 of the best StarCraft 2 players in Korea.
That is right. Tonight is the night of mirror matchups. We have 4 mirror matchups, so we're going to finish the night off with a TVZ. Going to be one of the better matches of the night, too. But obviously, this is the night where we kind of get to see directly in terms of comparison, as these guys are the worst spies ever.
Well, you get to see also that SSL Premier has tons of foreign fans that come down every single day. We're not just lying to you guys. You saw it on the camera, so now it's out there. Yeah.
But we're going to see more direct comparisons between the players in terms of their mirror matchup today. And, you know, sometimes you wonder who's the better Terran, who's the better Zerg, and this can be a way where people say, oh, well, he won in the direct comparison, he won the matchup. That means he's the better player. It doesn't always necessarily mean that, but he's the better mirror matchup player, which is obviously important in an era that's dominated by one race or the other. Not as much in this tournament, though, because obviously it's a round-robin format before we go to the playoffs, so you have to be good at all matchups. We have players from all races here. But there's something to keep in mind as we go to this night filled with mirror matchups. And we're starting things off with the Protoss versus Protoss.
Yeah, the other fun part about tonight, if you guys have been following this league for a while now, is that 3 players currently are at 4-1 for series wins. So if any of those players get to 5-1, we'll actually have an interview with them because they're very, very likely, just extremely likely, 95% sure that they will make it into the next round, into the playoffs. So that's another fun thing that'll be happening later on today.
That's right. So good to hear a little bit more insight from the players. We haven't really had any interviews thus far. But yeah, it's going to be a good night. Definitely the top player, Biel, right now is the one everyone's looking at. We're really close with everybody, as you mentioned. So depending on how tonight's matches go, we might still be tied up there as well. But not everyone's going to get up there at the top. Eventually, they will face each other. They will have to take some extra losses. Yeah.
I know some players like to meme about, you know, the current state of Zerg in Korea because especially in SSL Challenge, there's only one Losira. But here in SSL Premier, there are actually 3, Biel, Solar, and Dark. And Biel and Solar up tied at 4-1 near the top. But let's go through our matches tonight.
We're going to be starting things off with the Protoss versus Protoss, Zest versus SOS, then Terran versus Terran, Innovation versus Alive. Our third match of the evening will be the Zerg versus Zerg, Solar against Biel. And to close out the evening, we will have the Terran versus, oh, no, there's one more here, Stats and Patience. And Protoss versus Protoss there. And then the 5th match will be the Terran versus Zerg, Maru versus Dark.
Love our sick view of Gangnam. It's just getting dark out here as we've just passed the 7 p.m. mark. It's about 7:10 right now. I know it's definitely a different time for you guys around the world watching this, but we're going to get some in-depth looks into these matchups. Of course, if you are trying to buy tickets here, you got to go to ticketlink.co.kr, or you can usually just come down to the studio and buy the tickets in person. And all of that money does go directly towards the prize pool that are given to the players every single day. So you're supporting the players, and also it's a really fun thing to experience coming down to the studio.
So as you mentioned, Biel, Patience, and Solar are all at the 4-1 mark. In terms of win-loss record, you can see that Biel has a +5 indicator, and that's just one over Patience having the +4, and Solar sits down with the +2. Tonight's matches, especially Biel versus Solar, will be very important. The winner of Biel versus Solar will take that first place. Now, this is a matchup in head-to-head. You might be surprised that Zest actually has the higher win rate at 16-7 because SOS was so good in Pro League as a sniper player in those best-of-ones where they faced off against each other. This is the old iconic Jin Air versus KT matchup that you'd see on a Protoss map sometimes, but SOS definitely looking weaker in the Protoss versus Protoss matchup. And if SOS is losing to Zest here, Zest might actually finally be able to take that first win and get himself out of last place. SOS will then fall down as they're at number 8 and number 7.
Yeah, both those guys.
Or number 9 and number 10,
yeah,
sorry.
9 and 10 down at the bottom. Second matchup of the night, the TVT, and I think the most fun matchup of the night, the one that will be the closest, Innovation. The robot, extremely fantastic macro Terran in Innovation, and Alive, who's coming back off of that finals, you know, the second place over at the Super Tournament of GSL. He's just looking better and better every day we see him. So definitely the marquee matchup of tonight. Tell your friends to get in and watch that one if they've only got time to watch one match. That would definitely be my pick.
That is definitely going to be the one. We'll see if the results live up to the hype as we get into those games, but that's definitely going to be a fun one. Innovation already playing the TBT against Maru, and definitely had a pretty dominant showing there. So we're going to start off with the Protoss versus Protoss. As mentioned, SOS currently number 9 in standings right now, and you know, the Jin Air players seem to be struggling. SOS at number 9, Maru is just above him at number 8, and only Zest down there at the bottom. 4 and 9 in total map score here. Or sorry, 14 and 24, 4 and 9 in matches.
And it's kind of interesting, you know, Jin Air the only team that was left over from Pro League in Korea after all the others disbanded, and 2 of their players in SSL Premier down near the bottom at 7th place and, or I guess 8th place and 9th place, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
As Dark and Maru actually tied for 7th currently. But as you can see, it's going to be SOS up against Zest. Zest down here just 1 indicator point behind SOS, but also hasn't won a single series yet.
Yeah, he's 0-5. In map score, he's 4-10. He's taken 1 game of each best of 3 he's played, except his most recent, so that's where the 4 wins come from there, but he doesn't have a single match win. And with that, he's on the opposite side of what you said, basically guaranteed to go to relegations in the pass lane. So a win here would be nice, but it's not necessarily going to crawl him out. I think this is about pride for both these players. They are both very likely to have that potential chance of getting knocked into Challenger. Here are our maps for the Protoss versus Protoss: Newkirk, Precinct, Overgrowth, and Daybreak.
Both these guys really wanted to play on Newkirk, I suppose. That's the first time I've seen where the first map choice for both the players is the same. So we're going to be going into that one right away, and actually it's starting up right now, guys. Let's jump into game number 1, SOS versus Zest.
SOS 김유진 Zest 주성우.
Welcome to Newkirk Precinct. Fly better fly, Jin Air. Following up on Daehyun, shouting out to our sponsors. Here's going to be SOS down in the bottom right, the red Protoss.
And of course, his opponent to the bottom left in blue is Zest, former KT Protoss. Poor results in GSL Season 1, and now finds himself at the bottom, 0-5. I think the main reason that we see both players highly prioritize Newkirk Precinct in the map rotation is because this map is a map where you can be tricky. There's a lot of proxy locations. You have a short distance by air. And, you know, this is not the standard approach to Protoss versus Protoss, is to necessarily go Stargate many games in a series, or even not necessarily any games. Like, you know, you might not do it at all in a normal PvP series. But both these players have shown the proclivity to do Stargate openings, so I think that's why they've chosen this map, and we may see that as the game begins.
Yeah, you're kind of joking that even before these matches started, maybe they would just proxy Stargate in the same location on opposite sides of the maps, and it would just get insane from there. But it looks like we're already having a little bit of a difference here in terms of the builds. Just 1 gate for SOS, and it looks like he might block this off.
Tight walling it. So we'll see what he's got planned.
And 2 gates for Zest.
So Zest going to have the likely double Adept opening, although we have seen a raise in the double Stalker openings in this matchup recently. The question is, what is the reasoning behind cutting the extra gateway for SOS? He's going to save some resources as a result of that. You can see he's built up quite a lot of gas. He got his double gases faster. We're going to find out in just a moment when the Cyber Core finishes what tech he's planned. It's going to be Stargate, big surprise, shocker, but it's a much faster Stargate than what we're going to see from Zest if he goes down the same path.
Yeah, and that's why he blocked it off, so that no scout can get into the main, no probes can just see exactly what's going on, the fact that, you know, stuff is missing in the base, stuff like that. So Zest actually going for his own expansion already. He's going to lay that down. I think that was scouted by the probe. Let me just confirm. Yeah, was.
Yeah, he did see that. which is really nice actually for SOS. Is now he knows he's pretty safe to go for the Oracle opening. He's going to use the Mothership Core to get some further additional scouting just to confirm that the Oracle opening is safe and he's not going to be blind countered by Phoenixes. So the Oracle will start here. You see Stargate opening so often on this map that you have to expect that there's a chance he runs directly into the Phoenix. That's why I really appreciate how much he's actually committing to scouting to make sure. Zest actually will sneak in here and find this Nexus, but he made a forward pylon to the right side of the map, and I'm wondering if that will actually be scouted now too, because the probe was chased away. Doesn't actually see anything but the Stalkers here. He should realize with the resources spent on what he's seen so far, there's just no way there could be a Stargate. And the Oracle is going to come in. He's going to commit to a second one with this information. Yeah,
and look at what Zest is going for. We've been seeing him do this a lot in this matchup. Just go for straight kind of safety blink and then transition into other tech off of 2 bases. But always starting off with this blink. The question is it going to be enough to stop these Oracle? He does have the Mothership Core in position. Already 2 probe kills haven't gone down. He forces 2 overcharges and gets out with 3 kills in total. Looks like one of those was on the Mothership Core, so a nice bit of damage done.
Yeah, it looks like you know, the plan here is to have SOS is our first Oracle to use the energy. He wants to come down for the second pass when there's not enough energy on the Mothership Core. That's part of the reason why he committed that Adept into the main base so far. Gave him some additional scouting information. Mothership Core is moving away now to the natural, and I believe he has 1 Stalker here. Okay, no, all 3. That's important. So he's not going to be able to do too much, but he can just target and then run out when his shields are gone.
Oh,
actually
look
going to completely commit.
So much damage already being done. 7 probes in total. Tries to get a little bit greedy there and catch another one on his way out, but almost loses his second Oracle. So 7 probe kills, loses 1 Oracle.
Looks like this pylon we saw earlier for Zest is just going to be used for slow warp in harassment. We saw this in the past, even as far back as Wing of Liberty with Zealot harassed to come in this matchup. Just going to be Adepts coming in, though there's no pylon in position. These will one-shot together a probe, so several already killed. He's forced a big probe pull, and there's just no units nearby for SOS to deter this. In fact, he's even got a tight wall up here with the rest of his workers and a sentry. He's got nothing else on the ground, realistically, to stop this.
Those 2 Adepts keeping the probes hostage on top of the ramp for a long time. They might actually just shade over here and try to snipe some probes. Good movement from SOS to save that. But the sentry goes down, getting even more damage done.
So when the dust settles, Zest is still behind 3 workers, but he's built you know, a decent amount of tech. He has the Blink Stalkers. You know, he can use those to harass and try to keep SOS on 2 bases. But I feel like the Immortal tech that SOS has already built up here with 1 Immortal out, the second to soon pop out, is more valuable. He still has the Oracle, which can give him some additional information. He's going to go clear this pylon. So, liking SOS's position in terms of tech, adding 4 gateways now, and the Resonating Glaives upgrade so that his ground army is just going to be all the more bolstered. And don't freak out when you see those 4 gates, because it doesn't mean he's going to all in necessarily. It just means he wants to have a large enough army to pressure, to deny a 3rd base from Zest while also taking his own 3rd. He is making a Prism right now, though, so we could see some really heavy commitment to the harassment in the main base, perhaps, with that Prism.
Yeah, generally a good idea. It's hard to get all your units in position, especially if Zest decides to eventually go for a 3rd base. But with the 2 Immortals and the sentries that he's already built up, and that Warp Prism that's making its way across the map, this is going to hit right when Resonating Glaives finishes up. So he might be just looking to hit a bit of an aggressive timing and warp in a bunch of Adepts here at the front and try to break it.
I guess he is really just going to commit here. Zest has no idea about this. The Stasis Ward will scout it now, though. And he actually, does he realize it? No, he does not. That could actually be a big problem. Also, this Warp Prism is going to be the bigger problem that comes into the main base now, harassing SOS's worker line. Again, he has nothing at home to defend. This is an attack designed for this ramp specifically. This map has a wide ramp, so it costs more force fields to actually deny the walk up here. Does get 2 sentries here already, though. A great start for Zest on the defense. Even bruising that Warp Prism shields a little bit. Here come the Shades. He's going to have to be at 2 places at once.
He's going in.
Out. He didn't expect that. And look, the force field's going to wall him in.
That's pretty fantastic. If he warped in some sentries, he could actually get more and more.
He has another one, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has another force field or not.
Looks like he does.
Yep.
Does put it down. Looks like some units do get up into the main. And it snipes the Warp Prism, which is really, really important. The first step for stopping this for Zest.
Yeah, that Zest Immortal is super low, but it actually survives here. It's going to rebuild its shields. Zest actually sending a few Stalkers away. If he loses this pile, that's going to unpower a lot. He doesn't actually finish it off, though. This one Immortal that's super low is the hero for Zest as he tries to defend. This attack is stopped at the natural. He can send those Stalkers back up the ramp. Don't think he has enough overcharge energy. He actually has one more, but he knows the pilot's going to go down so quickly. He doesn't even commit to it. That's going to stop this Immortal from coming out.
And more Stalkers trying to come back and desperately hold this off. That one Chrono Boosted Immortal could come out, but already 20 probes have gone down trying to defend against this attack. And even if this doesn't kill Zest right now, it may have done critical damage.
Yep. Zest now, in terms of anti-air, still has 8 Stalkers, but the Oracles are going to harass and pull him in 2 different directions while SOS just continues to overwhelm him now with these Glaive Adepts. The attack speed upgraded, and you can tell how much this does. Zest trying to micro with his Blink Stalkers as best as he can. He will actually clean these up, but the probe losses are immense. 38 to 18 currently on the map. But I feel like all SOS really needs to do is just do another round and keep sending these in. Has this Oracle, because there's very little overcharge. There's no probes left to kill. There's 2 over there on the left side he missed.
The saddest Oracle ever. He has so much energy. There's no defense, but there's just nothing to kill. Not his lucky day. And now Zest, he's trying to make his way across the map, but there's already another Immortal out. I feel like that Immortal could fight half this army by itself. Not mentioning the crazy amount of Adepts that are still out here.
These Stalkers need their next blink. Oh, they get caught by the Stasis Ward. That is going to be some dead Stalkers for sure. Not to mention these Adepts that are already killing what little probes are left. Four more of the 20, so...
Trying to get the surround on those Stasis units. Here we go.
Later. He's going to blink if it's off cooldown. Actually, I don't know if that's stasis. I don't get my Blink Stalker stasis very often in that interaction, but looks like he didn't have it. And the Stalkers do eventually blink away once more.
Do continue the chase.
Yes. And they're going to come over here and pick off some probes, but this is just not going to be significant enough. And this is, again, an eliminating part of Zest's only standing army. So he's trading for harass here. He's buying time, but time for what? Look at his Glaives research. Not even really that far along at all.
I mean, it's not researching because the Twilight Council is unpowered. GGG, says Zest, as SOS takes a nice Game 1 victory. Not too long of a game, just sets up a good timing. And once again, we see that blink, that early safe blink, kind of fall flat on its face. It doesn't get any damage done. The Oracle still gets 7 probes in damage, and then he just has a bunch of Blink Stalkers against the much better Resonating Glaives Immortal Sentry army of SOS.
You know, it's a really well-played move by SOS. You know, you can see the build had certain steps. The first one is to Mothership Core Scout, then commit the first Adept Shade, use an overcharge, come up with a second Oracle, force another overcharge, then the third, the first Oracle is the second overcharge. The third Oracle, there's no overcharge left. Even with the Stalkers there, he ignores them, kills a bunch of probes. Then he's set up, in terms of economy, to hit this timing push that wouldn't necessarily work on a map with a secondary ramp as normal size, but with that wide ramp, he gets in, gets the kills he needs. Even after losing 2 sentries, it didn't matter. Zest did not have enough to defend.
So let's see if SOS sets up something similar here in game number 2. Perhaps Zest wants to finally mix it up and show us something a bit different in the matchup. That's what I'd like to see. But guys, we're going to jump into game number 2 right now. SOS versus Zest. Here we are on Overgrowth for game number 2, another small 2-player map. Up here in the top right, winning game number 1 is SOS.
And down here, the bottom left in blue is Zest. Too bad Stalkers don't get an attack speed upgrade. That's all I had to say about
that. That'd be pretty nice.
Cool.
Maybe with StarCraft 3.
Yeah, maybe you can research, when you research DT blink, maybe that upgrade could also like slightly reduce blink cooldown or something. That'd be interesting.
It's got to cost another 100 gas, though. It's the only way it's fair.
Only way. You and I think great balances on this. I don't know if you read this, but they are considering nerfing my Void Rays. I saw that.
What?
They changed the prismatic alignment so that the Void Rays move slower when they're using it. Can't believe they consider such a thing.
Just turn them into turrets or something. Might as well. That's what.
Well, that's what the Void Ray should do, right? You know how it has this weird, like, well, they're called flux veins, but the things that come off the back of the Void Ray. Yeah. Imagine the Void Ray just turned back and used those as legs and started walking on the ground, and then it just shot with its big beam on the top of its head. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Man, we should apply.
We should make a game, man.
Yeah.
Let's get in the Blizzard and make the next game.
You and I, too, great StarCraft personalities going into the realm of RTS.
It seems like, though, if they're doing that, it's like the Corruptor style, right? Where it's you go in and basically you just try to kill buildings and you can't move while you're doing it, but you gotta charge up in a sense. I don't know. I don't know what I feel about that. It's like Nexus snipers now.
I'm just sad because Void Rays in general have this very small niche window in the meta in the pro scene.
Yeah, and they're just coming back.
Yeah.
They're like, no!
I think it must.
No Void Rays.
My guess is
Wolf's favorite unit. No, get that out of here.
My guess is that it's probably a problem at the lower levels because Void Rays are good if you play at the lower level. They blow things up really fast. So going back to this game, we have the Twilight opening for SOS. Zest is once again going down the Stalker path, which is kind of how I guess he's decided this matchup should be played no matter what. And you and I talked a lot about Zest losing the KT Rolster sponsorship, the team house, the coaching, and it feels like in this tournament he has been coasting off of very much the same builds, using the same style over and over and over again, whereas SOS still has the Jin Air house, still has teammates to practice with and discuss builds with, talk to Trap on a daily basis if he wants to, and perhaps Zest really needs some direction because his builds feel weak in this matchup so far, and he's basically going to do the same thing again. I imagine he's going to expand into Blink Stalkers once more, getting a Sentry here for safety.
Looks like it.
Whereas SOS is going to go into a fast Glaive build again.
And here's the Twilight Council. Oh, no, he's gone into Robo. Okay, we're going to see something different today.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Zest giving us a treat. Means no Blink will come out fast. He'll have the Immortals on time to defend. But it looks like an earlier Resonating Glaives is the build for SOS. He foregoes the Stargate. This is going to be scouted immediately by Zest coming in here. He may even pick up a couple of kills.
Good micro here, actually, by SOS. Looks like he will get just the one. Not able to get that second one there. Out of range of the overcharge.
Crazy amounts of damage.
Yeah. SOS just doesn't have any anti-air. He's gone full adept, so he's trying to take the Shadow Bus into this game. He's riding the Shadow Bus.
The Shadow Bus.
We'll see if that bus carries him to victory as the Mothership Core does eventually go back here. This is a really powerful push, though. Zest does not have very many units, so this is kind of a unique, quick, adept timing to pressure this natural. He's killed very little. He's just working on these shields, but he's denied mining, whereas his Nexus is about to finish up, so he's going to turn the economy of this game upside down. Oh, this is an interesting choice, because now he's kind of caught here. Now Force Field's even on the ramp. Going to lose several Adepts. He's going to try to trade them for probes, but this was an expensive exchange for SOS. Overcharge used. Just going to send the rest of these Adepts home. And, you know, we're at 27 workers now. And then even in terms of economy, with SOS now having his base up. But once more, Zest has the better tech. He's getting a Warp Prism now, so he can harass a little bit. I believe he made an Immortal as well.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
Not yet. He's just got 8 Stalkers and no Blink research. Which makes me think, again, you know, SOS already has the Resonating Glaives. He can easily add more gates once he gets that second base economy going. He already is making his robotics facility himself, and since Zest hasn't made any Immortals yet, he can easily just be on the same Immortal count. Now look at what SOS is doing. He's coming in here trying to trade again. He kills 2 Sentries. Not sure about the follow-up trade. Doesn't actually attack any of the probes, but gets a bit of damage.
You know, this would be a much more powerful situation for Zest if he had Blink. You know, then he can start really putting the heavy pressure on. He can counterattack, for example. But because he does not, he kind of just defends. He loses a few workers, trades fairly evenly. He has a larger army, but it's the weaker army because it's just kind of how Stalkers work versus
all
Adepts.
Stalkers.
Yeah. Okay, he's going to use this Prism now for some light harass. Just going to use its long pickup range to safely harass from a distance, then pick these Adepts up. The key here is just make sure he does not lose the Adepts, which is pretty hard to do when you've got Shades and a Prism.
Oh, that Sentry.
So the Sentry grabs it. Nice pick.
Yeah, nice bit of damage. But again, that Warp Prism, that's what Zest committed to early on in this game, and he really needs to find more damage than even that, because his Resonating Glaives is way behind. He hasn't made a single Immortal either. He's just sitting on all these Stalkers. He's dumped all that gas into them. And, I mean, he's starting the +1, but already the 4 gates are started here for SOS. They're going to finish up, and I think he might just hit a similar timing, and I think Zest's army this time is even weaker.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't have Blink, so micro is even more difficult. Just shading in here to scout, see how many Stalkers are around. Basically, Zest is trying to slow this down by harassing non-stop at the natural. Trying to grab as many sentries as he can. This time losing an Adept, so it's going to cost him another Adept to remake that. He's going to have Glaives defensively, though, when SOS hits. By the time this hits, he might even be very close to +1. He's actually not chronoing that right now, but throwing the Glaives instead. 3 more gates, 4 more gates. 3 will be done in just a moment. You know, I feel like he may just barely have enough to hold this. Maybe a battle that's decided by the micro, the control. Only 2 sentries here, but the pick-off that we saw earlier, one of them slightly damaged. Does have 4 force fields, I believe? 3 or 4 there to utilize, and he's going to have to use them well. Zest, I like how he's just already starting to try to pick these units off.
That he needs to do. Has a lot of sentries in his army, and double pylon in the front for overcharge. When I actually hover over that and see how much energy there is, there's 200, so he does have lots of overcharge. And is he going to try to get up into the main again and just parry? It looks like it.
Oh, look at this pylon placement, though. He's got these 2 pylons here to really slow this down. The Immortals could target them down, but they're actually not really. Big Warpin coming in regardless here. Force field on the ramp. Zest is stuck outside. He doesn't have Blink this time. He's going to recall into the main. I can't believe I'm watching this. Recalls into the main, but there's such a long lull in that recall. Now he can just walk down the ramp. Zest looks for the force field.
Oh, he's trying to get it. He's just barely out of the way. He force fields himself out.
Oh,
in fact,
man, this is disastrous. Now he's going to use this overcharge here again, but Probe's forced to be pulled. Another big warp in here for SOS. Zest has a larger army, so he should eventually, theoretically, hold this off, but so
those Immortals, though. Those Immortals in the bag, trying to focus down that Warp Prism. It looks like it survives, and Zest will hold this, in fact.
Okay, he basically has a window of time where he can counterattack. He killed a lot more this time than he did last time, and he has a better economy than he did after the last game, so he could counterattack. Looks like SOS is considering dropping down a 3rd Nexus. That will not be holdable if Zest scouts it. But SOS has been known to hide Nexus and get away with it, especially on this map. But,
yeah.
Actually, okay, we'll see it with the Prism now, which is going to give him, you know, the advance warning of, okay, maybe perhaps I should do something about this right away while I have this massive lead in army. He has Glaives, too, and his army is back to PvP quality. He's actually getting the late Blink here, too, which I feel is wholly unnecessary. I feel like Zest has a really different idea about what unit composition is strong in this matchup. We saw a lot of Blink Stalker play in the past with Disruptor tech, you know, back in the Kespa Cup era with Neeb, Trap, those PvPs we're watching. But eventually everyone figured out that Adepts generally are the better unit to have if there are no Disruptors on the map, which is the case right now. But either way, he's going to commit to it. Templar Archive coming up for the Archons, and +2. He is moving across. He wants to deny this base. He has, you know, he had at least the larger army. He's got a decent amount of resources, go up in a few more units. It feels like a little bit slow, though. I like this idea to try to draw SOS back. He's even going to stop these gates from being powered.
Look at SOS's army right now. It's going in the middle of the map. He's not even going for the fight. He's going for the base trade. He said, okay, if you want to go into my base and attack the 3rd at the same time, I'm just going to take out your natural.
SOS is so crafty. killing the third Nexus, which he doesn't even do, by the way, is worthless if you lose your entire base in the trade. If he was already attacking the natural, for example, this would be a total race, but Zest actually has to turn around now. He is doing a little bit of harass. Prism goes down here, so that's actually quite huge. He's going to just take the fight directly to SOS. Here comes some warp-ins defensively here, just wants to buy time. SOS actually has to warp in back home. He just wants to do as much as he can with these adepts and trade as best as he can so that when the counterattack comes, he can survive. But I just don't know. If he loses all these adepts, how could he defend the counterattack?
Yeah, that's the real question. He really cripples the economy, but it's not enough. GG. Zest actually holds on from the aggression of SOS and takes game number 2. So we are going into game number 3 on Daybreak.
That game was definitely very back and forth. The commitment there to the first adept attack didn't do as much as SOS wanted. I have to really say, though, Zest had a fairly weak defense, too. You know, he definitely had some mistakes there, like dropping the force field in his ramp to lock himself out. I feel like he could have held even better if he had just controlled a little bit better in that situation, but we'll see if he goes into the Blink Stalker again, if he goes into the Stalker opening, because it seems like that is just what he's permanently fixated on. Daybreak is our third map, so a lot larger of a map, a lot tougher to actually make these pushes work that SOS is using. He's going to have to walk along a longer rush distance to get set up for the attack. But both these players really just feel like they're sticking to their style, not really changing things up, just going to say, all right, Stalker opening versus Adept timing. That feels like what we're watching here.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting to see, especially on the day with all these mirror matchups. And we are going to get another PvP later on by two players that are higher up in the rankings right now in SSL Premier Stats and Patience. But looks like we're ready to get to game number 3 already. So SOS versus Zest, this one map is going to decide who's going to take the best of 3. Here we are on Daybreak for game 3. Down here in the bottom left, the red Protoss, it's SOS.
And his opponent, to the top right, it is Zest. Finds himself in last place currently in the standings. Another place Zest fans want him to be. Is going to have to step it up to make sure he does not go into the relegation fast lane matches. He may lose his spot in Premier for Season 2. So this is again, just straight up exactly, even from the gateway placement, what we've come to expect from these two. Zest in the main, SOS looking for the tighter wall off to deny scouting.
Yeah.
I mean, just stylistically, you think about Zest as a safe player who, you know, goes in the Stalkers, plays a bit defensively. SOS is the crafty player, hides information, goes for something sneaky. And that's what's cool about watching a mirror matchup like this, is you get to see, given the exact same tools and resources, how these two players differentiate and what they think the best way to approach the matchup is.
I think we might see SOS just go back to what worked in game 1. We saw that Zest's defense of the Oracles was a little bit spotty. Overall, I think SOS was able to get 10 probe kills before it reached the mid-game, and that made his mid-game push a lot stronger. Now, Daybreak is, I think it's a bigger map in terms of natural to natural compared to Newkirk.
Yeah.
But shouldn't be all that much different. But the thing about this map is that there are definitely places to hide a Stargate a little bit closer if you want to get those Oracles over a little bit faster.
You read my mind. I feel like if we see the Oracle opening, it has to be proxied on this map, because the same nat-to-nat distance you just described also describes the air-to-air, main to main distance for Stargate. If you send it from the main base, it's going to take a long time for that Oracle to go. He is going to make it in the main base, though, and just scouts here with the probe. Zest is going to, once again, take a faster expansion, this time with Adepts coming out, though. So, big variation here from what we've seen so far in this best of 3, the double Adept rally. And he doesn't have enough for a Nexus, but SOS is just making sure he doesn't place it. And the Mothership Core follow-up scout comes out, and Zest will go for a delayed Stargate. So he, just like you, astutely predicted this move by SOS, and he will probably just go, at this timing, it has to be Phoenix first. And he's looking to kind of blind counter, but that's why this Mothership Core Scout comes out for SOS. And actually, he's going Phoenix first, so...
Yeah. So SOS is actually going to get ahead from here, and he's probably just going to be one Phoenix ahead. Assuming that Zest doesn't make late Oracles. That's generally not what you want to do in PvP.
Yeah.
So you could just get straight up countered.
So he sees a Stargate. Well, this is a terrifying feeling for Zest to know, okay, he knows exactly what I'm doing. I still don't know what he's doing because he tight-walled. You know, it's funny that this scouting probe surviving is so important because, as you can see, without the scouting probe surviving, this Nexus wouldn't be possible to make. He cannot actually send the probe out of his base. He's going to have to kill his own pylon to go down the ramp. That's why he's replacing this one before killing it. The Nexus is not going to go down. Phoenix actually forces the recall.
But after all, that is going to make SOS happy, like we were talking about. Now he's got one extra Phoenix, and he's actually going to show them. Just wants to pick off a free kill. Feels like that's more valuable than keeping his Phoenix tech hidden. Oh, you can actually shade out of that.
Yeah, make that, no, it's kind of a weird interaction. Make the Phoenix tech more worth it, I feel. Show, okay, I'm ahead of you, and I have my natural up and free. I killed your Adepts. And this is going to be a situation where either we see the second Stargates go down in this war, as soon as I say that, SOS drops the second one, or the transition into a tech to deal with this, kind of accept defeat in Phoenixes, which is kind of what we're seeing from Zest. We'll see what he decides to do with that Twilight Council, because Blink has actually not really been a good counter to Phoenixes. Even with the extra mobility the Stalkers have, you don't really have the ability to chase them. Phoenixes are just too fast. He's actually going to try to camp this Stargate and get ahead because he knew he was up one. Look at this micro, stacking them to make sure they all fire at the same time while taking the least amount of damage. The same reason why you stack Vitalists in Brood War.
And it looks like he did a tiny bit of hull damage to one of those Phoenixes. And as you were talking about the lack of effectiveness, the ineffectiveness of Blink against the Phoenixes, it looks like Zest, he's going to continuously make Phoenixes out of one Stargate, but then go Dark Shrine. And he's really just hoping SOS doesn't get in there and scout this, because it'll be easy for him to just put up a Forge and make cannons, or just make an Oracle. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I feel like it's a bit of a gamble out of Zest to go for this kind of tech, to be honest.
I feel like he feels really pressured just considering where we're at in this game. And this attempt, he's like, oh, I gotcha. He has to make a transition, though, and
look at this.
He hasn't seen that.
Nice!
Gets it. Almost gets the Mothership Core, too.
That is so cute.
Now he can actually force these Phoenixes to get back. That was a big mistake by Zest to even slightly go to the south there.
He really wants to take this fight. He knows he's made more Phoenixes. He sees only one Stargate. And really nice micro. He's going to come in here and lift some of these probes. Zest struggling to find a way to take this fight. Snipes one of those weak Phoenixes, thankfully, with an overcharge.
He doesn't make a DT either. Fleet Beacon coming up here. There's the two late slow warp and DTs, but Fleet Beacon's coming up. He's going to commit to the Anion Pulse Crystals. Like,
the detection, though, out of SOS.
Yeah, he doesn't have any. This is such a gamble, but it may end up paying off because I don't believe he saw that Dark Shrine still. This is actually absurd. And right now, Zest is, like, intentionally doing this, I feel, to distract him. This could be a crazy base trade.
This is such a wonky game.
SOS might have to... okay, he starts a Robo. He starts a Robo. He might have to hide probes. This Robo is going to get targeted down. He's going to need to hide probes to make a Robo somewhere else if this keeps happening. He's going to need to at least start... Or he's going to need to start two Robos. He gets two
he can use the Oracles, yeah. Get them out. Use the tech that you already have. And he's, meanwhile, running away the probes, and now he's going to focus on taking out all of the stuff in Zest space with his Phoenixes.
Kills the Mothership Core. More DTs coming in. I think he's going to need to... I mean, where's the Robo being made now? In the main base? I feel like he should have hidden it, because he can't tag all these DTs. It is literally impossible unless Zest puts them in one spot. Zest actually, I feel like, is likely to take this game and this series. If he finds the Robo, he wins the game 100%.
Let me just see exactly where the Robo is. Yeah, it's in the main.
Yeah, it's in the main, right to the top right of his base. He's going to actually group them all up. This is his one chance for SOS to top his. He's got the wall. Misses the one DT up here on the high ground.
Oh, he's got a bunch of them in the back. He's going to force the morph there.
I mean, what did I say? Literally, unless Zest puts them all in one place, this will never happen. And Zest puts them all in one place. Now this last one is just easily going to be tagged.
But again,
unless he dodges it.
You have to wonder, like, that was his only way to get up the ramp to that Robo, because you have to kill the pylon fast enough and then get in there and have enough DTs at a time.
Yeah, and he's still killing probes, you know? SOS is still down to 16 probes now.
And SOS's standing army is 8 Phoenixes and 2 Oracles.
He's also he's not been mining for the last 2 minutes of time.
I think Zest actually just wins from the amount of harass damage that he got. It's not even harass damage, he just like pummeled his entire base. 35 probes go down.
Well, there's a saying, it's been said for many years, win behind Dark Shrine, and he did not scout it. Robo was late and targeted. He's going to just push in here. Archons cannot be lifted by Phoenixes. They're going to do some splash damage.
There's so many Stalkers, too.
Yeah, I feel like it's unnecessary to really break in right now, but looks like he's just going to do it. That one Archon is so low. 2 probe hits would kill it. GG.
Seems like he couldn't even believe it. He's like, how did I lose that game? But Zest, he takes his first series win in a PvP up against SOS, who was formerly in 9th place, but is now in 10th, as Zest climbs up 1 spot on the ladder.
Well played. You know, when you risk it all in the DTs, sometimes you can look foolish, but when SOS doesn't scout and doesn't play safe, you're going to win out of it. And that's just how Protoss works. If you're an SOS fan, you're angry. He really only has himself to blame here. That is the nature of StarCraft. Hidden information. Just did not find that Dark Shrine.
Yeah. You could see how meticulous Zest was being with the overcharges, too. The second the Phoenixes got anywhere close to scouting that, he immediately overcharged. It looked like it was just to push him away from the Mothership Core and from the Phoenixes, but the kind of the sub-quest was to hide his Dark Shrine for as long as possible as well, and it paid off. It was really good play by Zest, and you really got to hand it to him for winning that game.
Well, that is Zest's first win now. Did it on the back of that DTs. Had SOS played a little bit safer, he would not have won, but he gets away with it. That's our first of 5 best of 3s for tonight. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, Innovation versus Alive.